also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No, economic force, because Canada and the United States, that would really be something.
A growing number of Americans are beginning to admit that Canada may have been right about some major issues all along. So what changed? Let's break it down.
Canada is Washington State, my state's second largest export partner and our largest source of international visitors. And I want you to know this. President Trump's trade war and insults have driven away Canadian visitors to my state and to other states. It has delivered a huge blow to our economy. Passenger vehicle border crossings in my state are down more than 24% in the first 10 months of this year. Spokane, Washington, Eastern Washington, saw a 33% drop in visitors this year. The operator of a ferry between Seattle and Victoria, BC, has been forced to lay off now a quarter of its workforce because ridership is down 30%. In my state, Americans are losing their jobs and our businesses are struggling. And I just really believe, Mr. Ambassador, we should not be picking fights with our close allies and neighbors like Canada. This trade war has been a terrible blow to American small businesses, and I hope it ends. It has to end. If it could end tomorrow, it would be so much better for my state and so many other people. And I want you to know that, especially with Canada. This is hurting my state.
United States Senator traveled to Canada not to threaten Canadians this time, not to pressure Canada, not to lecture Ottawa about tariffs, but to plead with Canadians not to give up on America. That alone tells you how badly Donald Trump's trade war has backfired. Because for months, the White House acted like Canada had no choice. They claimed America held all the leverage. They insisted tariffs would force Canada into submission. But now American politicians are crossing the border trying to repair the damage themselves. And the tone of this interview was absolutely stunning. Alyssa Slotkin openly admitted the relationship has become deeply strained. She practically begged Canadians not to let Trump destroy the long-term alliance. She admitted Michigan's economy is suffering badly from the tariffs. She acknowledged that American industries are feeling it deeply, and perhaps most revealing of all, she openly suggested that Canadians should essentially wait out Donald Trump's presidency because there is a future after this president. Think about how humiliating that is for Washington. America launched this trade war believing Canada would panic. Instead, it is now U.S. lawmakers panicking over the damage being done to America itself. And tonight, we are going to break down why this interview may have accidentally exposed the real crisis now unfolding inside the United States economy. Because the deeper you listen to this conversation, the more obvious it becomes that Trump's tariff strategy is hitting America far harder than Canada.
Dear citizens of Canada, most everybody in the United States is with you. If you don't want to buy our products, don't do it. Buy Canadian only. We'll be fine. Trust me, we'll be fine. We don't agree with Supreme Leader Trump. We don't agree with what he's doing. So you boycott us, and I'm with you, okay? Most of us are with you. If for whatever reason the U.S. invaded Canada, which won't happen, but if it did, I would side with Canada. I would fight with Canada, okay? I canceled my trip in the United States this summer, my summer vacation to the Jersey Shore, because I live near the Jersey Shore. I canceled my Jersey Shore vacation because I'm taking a vacation to Canada this summer and spending my money in Canada as a U.S. citizen. So please welcome me and my family with open arms. We are with Canada, okay? We are on your side. We will fight with you. And if you need to boycott the U.S. products, you do that. Do that. Show Trump he's wrong.
Would you agree that Canada is a sovereign state and should not be even jokingly referred to as the 51st state?
Thank you. Canada is a sovereign state, yes. How the president and the relationship between the former prime minister in Canada, the characteristics and nature of that relationship, I don't know. Okay.
I view as a positive, sir, that we have a new prime minister in Canada.
Yes.
And a chance for a reset. Given my time, I will simply assert that Mexico, Japan, and Canada are among our most important allies. I'm very encouraged there is a positive start to the U.S.-Japan relationship with the meeting with Prime Minister Ishida. But I am hopeful that casual threats about throwing Canada out of Five Eyes, not respecting our border treaty, and their potentially being annexed as a 51st state will stop, and that a positive, respectful conversation about our close integration will continue. I look forward to working with you on pressing the Canadians to increase their defense investment and pressing the Canadians to meet some of our trading objectives, but also I will continue to press for a reduction in some of the rhetoric that I think has destabilized our relationship. I'll also recognize that the amount of fentanyl coming into the United States from Canada is minuscule relative to the very real challenge at our southern border, and I hope we can find a way to move forward in the U.S.-Canada relationship, the U.S.-Japan relationship, and the U.S.-Mexico relationship with the leadership of all three of you. Thank you.
You did meet with Prime Minister Carney. So I'm going to start sort of there and the way he is viewing the world right now to see if it lines up with you. He said last month that many of our former strengths based on our close ties to America have become our weaknesses that we must correct. Do you see the Canada-U.S. relationship in a similar lens as the Canadian Prime Minister?
Well, look, I mean, it's painful for me to hear that as someone who is a senator from Michigan, grew up coming to Canada every summer. I mean, you guys are our cousins. And part of the reason that I came and I wanted to have those meetings was to provide a bit of counter-programming that there's still plenty of American senior politicians who care deeply about the U.S.-Canada relationship. And certainly Michigan, we're feeling the strain between the two countries more than I would imagine almost any state in the U.S. Yeah. And you know, we talked about it, and I understand how difficult this relationship has become. I think my point to him, to the Prime Minister, and to other ministers is like this is a tough moment in time, but it's not the last moment in time. And we have long-standing strategic interests that align, and let's not, on either side of the border, let the current conflict kind of predict and determine what's going to happen for the next 30 years. There is a future after this president, and we have a lot in common that still matters to both.
All we want from Denmark for national and international security and to keep our very energetic and dangerous potential enemies at bay is this land on which we're going to build the greatest golden dome ever built. We're building a golden dome that's going to, just by its very nature, going to be defending Canada. Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your Prime Minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements.
What if I told you that a growing number of Americans are beginning to admit that Canada may have been right about some major issues all along? For years, Canadians and Americans have debated everything from healthcare, trade, to foreign policy, and even economic priorities. Many of those conversations became heated, with both sides convinced that they had a better approach. But now, something interesting is happening. More Americans are taking a second good look at some of Canada's decisions, and in certain cases, they are acknowledging that their northern neighbors may have seen the warning signs earlier. So what changed? And why are some people saying that Canada deserves a little more credit than it has received? Let's break it down.
Canada, because they know the Americans so well, they are so angry.
Yeah.
You look at how few Canadians are traveling to the U.S.
We rely on
right
1.9 million a year just in the state of California. It's collapsed.
It's astonishing.
Absolutely collapsed. The economic damage, the self-harm we've done is off the charts. That's aside. But you're right. It's interesting. For the Canadians, it's raw.
It's raw.
Yeah.
Yeah. I talked to hotel owners in Boston, New England, that kind of stuff. Also, Canadian tourism has just fallen off a fucking cliff.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
so there's a huge amount of self-harm in a country that really integrates, trusts the Americans.
Canada and the Canadian people, I want to apologize for some of the U.S. citizens that seem to want to make comments about you on my post, because my post to the Canadian people, as well as Canada and the rest of the world, is to bring humor and light to a very horrible situation. And the fact of the matter is Canada and the Canadian people deserve our respect and loyalty. Because anytime there's ever been a situation where we've needed help, or the United States has needed help, Canada, they have been there just as recent as January when they came down with water bombers to help put out the fires of California, because guess what? The U.S. government couldn't get it done. We have literally watched Canadian people come down here and help Timeless again. And U.S. citizens are bad-mouthing them now? Are you kidding me? First off, Canada has never started a war, but they have finished a lot of them. The United States, for the record, hasn't won a war since, I don't know.
Canada and the United States share the longest international border in the world, along with deep economic and cultural ties. Yes, despite their similarities, the two countries often approach major challenges differently, whether it is healthcare, housing policy, banking, regulations, trade relationship, or even social programs. Canada has frequently chosen a different path. So for years, critics argued that many Canadian policies were outdated, inefficient, or overly cautious. Meanwhile, supporters claimed those same policies would eventually prove valuable when difficult situations emerged. And that is why today's story begins. Because in recent years, several developments have caused people on both sides of the border to reassess old assumptions. So one area that often come up is banking regulations. During periods of financial uncertainty, Canada banking system attracted attention for its stability. So many analysts pointed out that Canada's stricter regulatory environment helped reduce certain risks compared to more aggressive approaches seen elsewhere. So another topic is healthcare. While Canadians themselves continue to debate the strengths and weaknesses of their system, some Americans have increasingly questioned whether healthcare affordability should play a larger role in public policy discussions. Then there is trade. Canada has consistently emphasized maintaining diverse international relationships while protecting key domestic industries. As global economic competition intensifies, some observers believe these strategies look more practical today than they did a decade ago. So the point isn't that Canada gets everything right. No, no country does. But a growing number of commentators are recognizing that some Canadian decisions deserve a closer look. And the reality is that Canada and the United States succeed when they work together. The relationship between the two countries support millions of jobs, billions in trade, and countless family connections across the border. So rather than focusing on who won an argument years ago, many experts believe the future depends on learning from successful ideas whenever they come from. And sometimes that means acknowledging when another country got something right. That is not weakness, it is wisdom. Because progress often begins when people are willing to reconsider their assumptions. So, are Americans actually apologizing to Canada? Maybe not in a formal sense, but there is a growing willingness among some people to acknowledge that Canada may have been right about certain issues that were once dismissed. And perhaps the bigger lesson is this: good ideas don't belong to a country, they can come from anywhere. What matters is whether we are willing to recognize them when they do. What do you think? Has Canada been getting more credits recently, or is this a trend that is being exaggerated? Let me know what you think in the comment section, and if you love breakdowns like this, kindly hit the subscribe button to join our family. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.